Now we are moving to the last segment of the interview, and these are general questions. So, if any of you or both of you can jointly answer. You made an extremely pertinent point, Vivek sir, when you said that the government cannot do everything in a complex and diverse country like India. Corporates, NGOs, self-help groups, and society all together must step forward and take charge to make the changes they want to see. Please elaborate on this.
See, in a poor country like India, and which is a developing country, if we want to reach with such a big population, we'll be surpassing China also in near future. And to become a developed country, we need to go for inclusive growth. And growth just cannot percolate from top to bottom. There should be some support from bottom up also. And for that, actually, we need to empower people, and especially the people in the remote regions, people who are vulnerable, people who don't have education, who are not aware. So there we need to work so that there is a bottom-up force also, and then India can become a developed country. So government cannot do anything in many sectors. Government should back out. In addition to democracy, after 1991, we have gone for globalization also. We are opening up. So market forces are playing. Now market is a ruthless thing. And in market, they won't cater directly to the poor people, and there have to be some institutions and some platforms who can work for the really needy people also. So for reaching the outreached, we have to go for inclusive growth, and that will come through civil society, NGOs, and things like that. Then only self-sustained or self-reliant communities can develop at various places. And then the real requirement of the democracy, that is decentralization of power, that will happen. And hence making a government very strong, and then maybe like China, they are able to cater to the needs of all the people, is not a democratic thing in my opinion. So to have a vibrant and healthy democracy also, we need to empower people, and we need to have a bottom-up force also, which government cannot bring. There should be people working at the grassroots, like Prabodhini and other activists, who can bring about this change.
Right. So, people expecting that everything the government should do, so that is not practical.
Not at all advisable also.
Yes.
Empowerment and participation of the people.
Yes, yes, that is important. What is your vision for the future in terms of how should JP's work move forward and manifold, especially in years to come?
In fact, we have a consultative type of leadership in JP. So there is a group of seniors who consult, who discuss, who share their thoughts, and then a decision is taken, and then we decide our policy. And sometimes I am a bit aggressive there. I try to force my thoughts onto others by making certain arguments, though critically. But one of my friends says, in the long run, all are dead. So we want to see some good change happening, some impact happening of JP in the near future, not maybe after 2000 years. So my vision is JP is an extremely complex model. It is a comprehensive model, and with almost 12 wings working in 12 different sectors, a same institution cannot be replicated. I don't think the uniqueness of JP can be replicated anywhere. So instead of trying to replicate the whole JP at different places, if we generate good practices out of this model in the field of education, health, and various sectors, and those small practices in terms of little packages where we give the training, where we prepare the trainers, and where we have the documentation also backed by a good research, that is JP's strength, then such things could be scaled up. For example, in Japan, they raise the height of all the people by a big program. Here we can increase the reading speed, the critical thinking ability, the creativity of all the 150 crore people of India by scaling up JP models. So that is a possibility which I see. So rather than replicating JP and taking JP everywhere or making islands of JP all over the different places of India, there could be one JP which will be a laboratory of generating good practices in various sectors, and then those practices could be scaled up by different JP Karyakartas at the national level, That is my vision of JP. Second thing is that in spite of all the 12 wings and work in different areas since the beginning and going for a comprehensive unique model, our focus and maximum efforts have been on education. We are recognized more as an educational institution, maybe school education, but I would go for now with the alumni supporting higher education also. We need to enter higher education because that is the group which is immediately available for working on the issues of the country. School education will have a gap of 6 to 8 years where people can divert. We have seen such divergence. So we need to enter into higher education. But for school education, we can prepare our NIGDI unit as a model for a new education policy 2020. The new education policy is extremely assuring that a good change is bound to happen in India, but has to be implemented properly. Policy is very good on paper, but to make it really true in the field, we need good teachers, good mentors, and good educationists also, which we can generate, but there has to be a model to be seen. And I think in NIGDI we have done a lot of work, and it is really a replicable school, not like the Pune Prashala. And we need to focus some more energy on NIGDI school to make it a fully model school on lines of NEP, which the government is expecting to have such schools in 2030. And we have a 7 to 8 years lead. We already have such a school. We need to make it more visible. So increasing the visibility of JP is another vision. We are doing maybe a little work which is inside, and we are satisfied with that, but making it visible and scaling it up with piecemeal good packages and making JP a laboratory will be my vision of future of JP.
Documentation of the activities and preparing various training programs and the modules just now. That is also the need of the hour, which should be taken into account by all the departments so that we can give that technology, I would say, to the world very easily and in the simple language that way, so that the people will understand easily.
We have value education models also. We have got Vidyavrata Sanskar, initiation into education in a meaningful way. We have got Matrubhumi Pujan. So, having your career choice based on some work to be done for your country. So, that is that type of initiation. So, these models could also be scaled up.
So, not replicating JP as a model, but scaling it up in different ways. And as you rightly said, nowadays there's a lot of focus on data everywhere. So, documentation part is also important. What should leaders of the future do according to you? I mean, if you can state 3 things.
To lead in 21st century, my first opinion would be they have to have a mastery over the changing technological disruption. They should be able to understand what is happening in the realm of technology, what is artificial intelligence doing, and it is affecting every sector from education to health to employment to all age groups. So they should have a cognitive feel or grip on the disruption of technology. My second point will be with again this increase in nationalism and even wars happening, they should have a global perspective. They should not be leaders of a country, but they should have a global leadership role to play, and that is more important. So at the planetary level, if they have compassion for the people, they can play a better role. And third thing, if you go into the theory of leadership, the earlier words were transactional and transformational, but many new words are actually coined for leadership, and various theories are coming. So I think the servant leadership approach will be required. They should not be leaders for their own sake, but they should be leaders for the collective sake, and they should make a collective leadership possible. So I think maybe these 3 things I can tell about the future of the leadership.
So, collective leadership and consultative leadership,
Yes.
both are important. What kind of a legacy would you like to leave behind?
In few words, we can say that the whole effort is, as Appa used to say, influence the influentials. So we are working in a catalytic way. The things that we can't do, will prepare someone who can do those things at a scale. So when we see our students handling a district, handling a disaster, handling crores of rupees budget, then really they have got a lot of power. And then we feel the pride ki actually the values with which they are working, they are because of Prabodhini. So that could be a legacy that there are so many students mentored by us and they have got that value system and they are really working at a scale. And process wise, whatever Savita just said, ki mentoring, facilitating, and going beyond knowledge and skills and reaching the level of attitude and motivation in your pedagogy, that could be the legacy, we can say.
Savita, with reference to books, which are your top 3 favorite books of all time?
I used to read many Marathi, not English books, and that too novels only. But I like mainly social activist writing, like Milinda Bokil, Anil Avzar, that type of books I like most.
Okay, right. So the last 2 questions. The most, you said the most illustrious batch of JPP is yours, the first batch. So please tell us about the different fields in the students of this batch have contributed to.
I won't agree fully, and even the alumni won't agree because there are so many meritorious batches which are coming up and which are developing. For example, now everybody knows that Manoj Naravane retired as the chief of the Defence Forces. And he is a 1976 batch alumnus, and that batch is also contributing a lot. So we are getting good competitors for the 1973 batch, and that is a good thing that is happening. But in our batch, actually, lots of good doctors, because that time Appa used to dream about having a Prabodhini hospital, and then many of us wanted to become doctors. For the hospital came late in the form of Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital, or other of Appa's mentee, he prepared a hospital in Latur, Vivekananda Rugnalaya. But we have got very good doctors in our batch, and at the national level they are working. Even in preventive health like AIDS, Dr. Vinay is working at the global level. Sanjay Behendale was reading the Nari and ICR also. Many engineers and many entrepreneurs who have their own units and they have generated a lot of employment. And again, they have worked outside India also, and their clients are everywhere. So, but they are, we can say, engineers, doctors is a common thing. Any bright student can become that, and with Prabodhini values, they can always contribute more. But I would say that even if only one student, we can say, who entered army from our batch and he created that legacy, and so many now people have gone to defense forces, army, navy and air force after Gajanan Kale from our batch. One who joined Sharad Joshi in the farmers movement of Maharashtra, and he was advisor of Sharad Joshi in many cases, Rajiv Basalgekar. So that is another example. A world-renowned statistician who is now working from Canada, 6 months in US, 6 months in Canada, Subhash. He could be another example. So there are many such people who actually have contributed in different sectors. So I am quite proud of our batch, and we still are number 1, I suppose.
Yes, definitely. Passion and purpose seem to be the cornerstone of all the work that you do. So let us close this interview with what message would you give the youth today who want to do something great, something meaningful, however are lost many a times?
I think we need to repeat what Savita said earlier, that in a fast changing world with such a rapid disruption happening in so many different fields, not only technology but even ideologies are changing in a disruptive manner. Students need to have a understanding of the phenomena around them. So the youth should be involved in understanding the current events, not as a UPSC syllabus. I always say that the youth should read the current events, not just for the sake of information and knowledge, but they need to respond emotionally to that, understand the plight of the people. So that is one thing, that youth should increase their horizons and should try to understand how the world is changing. That is a very important thing. Second is, because of the changes in all these things, they need to have an adaptation ability also. So try to adapt to things And of course, as Savita said, fair-mindedness is the thing that is required of youth especially, because they prefer to live in echo chambers, they prefer to live in their own comfort zones, and weak like-minded people, and with such a massive and intense propaganda around them, they are likely to be what you can say, small-minded, and hence they should come out of that comfort zone and have a open mind, have a fair mind, should be able to listen to others. And only in last Upasana I said कि there is a good tagline in Prabodhini कि मतभेद होने पर भी मनभेद हो न पाए. So even if there is a difference of opinion, you should learn to accept that, understand the opposite views, and don't let the minds get polluted or poisoned because of the views which are opposing. So that could be my sandesh or whatever you said to the youth.
Actually, just now he mentioned that the cognitive skills are said to be important nowadays. We feel that the thinking is very important, but I would say that yes, whatever he mentioned is perfectly right. Cognitive skills are important, but the compassion, the emotional quotient, that is also really important. So those students, youths, having good cognitive skills with good emotional quotient and getting adapted with the new world, having good network of themselves, because that is also really important. One person working in one area and having the island of his or her success is not going to make the impact. But now in any field, there should be a network of a people or the group of people, they do wonders, and therefore there should be a network or the group of people working together.
Yes. So cognitive skills, emotional skills, and along with networking. Yeah, well said. So I think we have been speaking for the last 1.5 hours, and though I mean right now I just saw the time, but it didn't feel like. So thank you both of you for this interview, and it was wonderful listening to you both.
Thank you, Anaga, for preparing a very exclusive and what you can say, this comprehensive questionnaire. It set us thinking. We did a lot of homework also, and really lots of different ways of reflection came out because of this interview. So thank you for that also.
Thank you.
You are always welcome and all the best.
Yes, thanks a lot.